Good job on the offensive end. Halpert up ahead for Leifer. Leifer open for throws the alley for Terrell. Oh my goodness!
I'm gonna wait.
Okay, we're good.
Oh, we're rolling?
We're rolling. Let's go.
Okay. I have a direct response to the people out there who have been saying that the ball habatim only respond when the max are hot. We are not haters. My mother always used to tell me, if you don't have something nice to say, you don't say it at all. So when we don't have something nice to say, we don't put a podcast on. Having said that, I'm steaming today. I'm steaming. We are not looking good. I'll send it to Natan. Natan, he said a really excellent point that we want to look our peak form by February, March. And I think we looked our peak form in September. This team, we lose to Merchant Marine at home. That's always a hard team to beat, especially if we're at home. There is no way that a team that is considered to be a Skyline Conference contender should be letting Sarah Lawrence even breathe in that game. I have one thing to blame, and I'm going to get yelled at by Harold Katz and Ellie Katz and everyone else. This offense is outdated. We have the most dynamic backcourt perhaps in the country, arguably. Yet, we insist on sticking to a system in which the offense is run through the post. We are not maximizing our guard play, and it just in the half court looks dead and stagnated. There, I said it. I said it.
Ariel, I'm going to turn it to you because you have the interesting perspective, which you've shared a couple times about sort of like even where some of our better teams were, right, year one, and sort of just putting in perspective. But you also made the most important point. What month are we in?
It's still January.
We're not in February yet.
It's not February yet.
We got at least go.
Exactly. We got an hour and a half to go till February. Look, this team is young. They're freshmen are playing, I don't know, 80% of the minutes in this game, in this team. And there's going to be ups and downs in this team. I think we started out really great, St. Joe's, Illinois Wesleyan. We looked really good against top teams in the country. Had some struggles against NYU and against Immaculata, St. Joe's, Long Island, some of these games that we did not look really good. And then we came back from the break, and actually I thought we looked really, really good against Wesleyan. We had that game. Wesleyan is one of the top teams in the country, and if it weren't for a few turnovers late, we would have pulled that one on the road in a really big game. So I thought they looked really good in that game. Beat Mary Washington, which is a team, the only team to beat Randolph-Macon this year. We had a really good game that game. That was the big Effie game. Maritime struggled a little bit in the first half, had a great second half. Roy locked down their Donovan.
A team who walked into, right, where they went off that game, and where they beat Manhattan. Who did they take care of? I forget who they walked in on the road. Either St. Joe's Long Island, maybe? St. Joe's Long Island. So a team that played really well. They looked really good with a great freshman point guard.
And then USMMA, I thought the offense was actually very good. The defense was lacking for sure. And then tonight was not a great game. Yes, we should have beat Sarah. We should be beating Sarah Lawrence by more than whatever it was. The first half
by just what we beat them at when we played in their house, right? Somewhere in the nice 20s. Which, by the way, I mean, let's talk about a couple things. Actually, one thing that we didn't even mention on the chat throughout the game, which dawned on me again, just because of who they are offensively, right? Actually, one person I thought we really missed in this game is actually Gav Landa. I don't know why I didn't think about he, again, whether it was number 5, whether it was some of these other guys on the outside who ended up hitting some threes, even though they didn't shoot particularly well from there either, shot better in the second half like we did. We just didn't have. I mean, we for some reason we couldn't keep pace with their guards. We didn't realize the only play the big man wanted to do was step out for a three, hit a couple of them in the first half. The awareness just didn't seem to be there. When you have a guy on defense like Gav, it really buys that minutes. We saw. Listen, it was great to see Roden get in the game. It was great to see some get some minutes in there. Even for 7 seconds, I know the crowd I was there was chanting "Put in Ellie" for a long, long time, and they finally got to see Ellie come in. But it's been not having, to me, the difference of the halves, and I say this all the time because I really think he's the best player on both sides of the ball for them. Max is probably there now too, but Roy really adds a dimension in terms of who he takes on defense, and how he lets the offense flow a little bit better because of his skill set is complementary, I think. Right? He doesn't need the ball in his hands. He moves. It's complementary to both the guards and to Matan. He gives Matan and Dotan space when he's in. So the way they started that second half on a 13-0 run, I'm not going to say it was like the finals last year of the Skyline Conference where there was a shutout for the first 5 minutes, because it wasn't that kind of lockdown D, but it really was much more intensity, much more energy, and part of this is just playing with that level the entire game. They just haven't been able to do that.
I agree with you that Govlando has missed, and the reason he has missed is this team came out and didn't play with heart other than Zucker. They just kind of looked asleep, and it's why Sarah Lawrence was able to stay in the game. Sarah Lawrence was able to stay in the game because they played just with more energy. We went on that 13-0 run because we started to step it up. We played with heart. We played with energy. So I understand that Landau is missed in that sense. I think we all are on the same page with Roy. I think we're all on the same page with Effie Freundlich. I think we're all on the same page as Zakheim and Zevi, and I think we're all on the same page with Zucker. His assist to turnover ratio is off the charts. He's playing really well. His game is not pretty. It does not look beautiful. It's efficient. I just think that should be the closing five. I just think there's your team. Like, we're rounding around the time where the lineups have to be shortened for the playoffs. We got to think about down the stretch. I think this Evie Freundlich came in and is kind of a godsend. I don't know why we're in a system with the motion is an ideology, right? Where you're playing five guys who could pass, shoot, and drive, pass, shoot, and dribble, right? And could set screens and are high IQ. If that's the case, even if Zucker's a limited shooter, he's at least shown a willingness to shoot. That should be the closing five. I don't know why we insist on. Elliott's a genius coach. The coach is better than me. I'm just a fan. However, a fan who played, but a fan nonetheless. I don't understand why we're playing lineups with two bigs, two centers, who are either one can't shoot and one is not really a driver. If you're in a theological offense that you need to be complete triple threats, I don't know why it always looks like whenever Zevi is getting a shot. I mean, he got a few open looks in the beginning, and kudos to that. But as the team starts to adjust, every shot felt like either a fadeaway or a really tough drive. Yeah, I'm not in. I'm not. And again, I don't need to be in. I'm not on the coaching staff. I believe in what they're doing. I love it, and I'm just responding as a personality, right? You have to be able to say something, not necessarily the right thing. I could be dead wrong. I'm not seeing it, man. I think when you had an offense that ran through bigs, this was great, right? Gabe, Donnie, Ryan posted up. Eitan even posted up some. We're running the off. Zevi and Zakheim are guys, and then you surround him with 3-and-D players like Roy and Effie Freundlich. Let's run stuff to get them going downhill, not necessarily where he gets a backdoor cut and he's caught because he's just too short, Right? Zakheim catches it in one of them, and he caught a beautiful backdoor pass. Maybe he should have went up quickly. But he had to think about it for a second. It's not Ofek Reef who could catch and dunk. Orion who could catch and dunk, I don't know. Maybe I'm out of my...
Isn't some of this, though, I mean, isn't, and Ariel doesn't want your perspective here because I think you keep us honest. But are you playing, listen, not Matan notwithstanding, in the sense that he's, again, one of the only guys that we have in the sense that definitely won't be playing next year. But isn't this a little bit house money? I mean, isn't this year one of a team that you're building? Again, with all that Matan's doing, and he is the heart and energy and fire, and we've been Matan stands, or I've been for years. Again, love the way he plays and love what they give him. And by the way, I'll go back actually tonight and look at the Skyline versus non-Skyline. I happen to think, like, in conference games, he's probably even more in terms of what he does and the pressure that he sees because of the size, right, of the player. Sometimes when it's 5-6 inches, right, that doesn't carry as well. But he's so good in Skyline Conference, even against some of those big guys. The problem is, but not the problem, but you're playing with house money a little bit, in the sense that it's year one, right? Like, as much as you want to think about it, it's not Ryan's last year or Gabe's last year, in the sense where you're trying to maximize and have that talent, right, where you have to go for it broke now. I don't think you have to. And I think part of what is happening, what we're seeing, at least the only explanation that I have, is it's about what they learn. It's about learning the role, right, from year to year. It's about learning those pieces, because you can get better if you know those things. And I honestly think the bench, at least up until this point, because I agree with you, you have to start getting the rotation down. I mean, we started having guys like Elliot Igby, Natkin, right? Guys who are playing and actually producing and looking decent, and then haven't seen them the entire second half, right? And I know Effie came in, but again, I think it would still be effort to see those guys on the court. I thought Natkin played really well and is high energy, right? So times when we're slow, sleeping a little bit. Again, it's not the answer, in the sense that there's a difference, but I don't know that they have the players to be able to then just adjust on the fly and say we're going into a 2-man game, and it's really about moving setting picks, getting these guys going. I would like to see Roy at the foul line. We talked about that. I'd like to see somebody with his skill set, in that triple threat position, facing the basket, because I don't think back to the basket or Matan or Dotan from three. If Dotan's not aggressive shooting the three, he was much more aggressive when we started the season than he is now. Again, not sure it's the answer, but I'm just saying that's what we need, because that's the only threat. Otherwise, we're going to see a lot of defenses, especially come Skyline playoff time, where they're just camping a guy in the lane, camping a guy at the foul line, and that's what's going to hurt us. But Ariel, I don't know if you're seeing any differences between now.
I think, just for perspective, I think also just like Massey, which is like the efficiency ratings that people like to use, they rated us before the game. Yes, as of this morning, it was 162 out of 400. Ryan's first year on the team, they finished the year 168. That was with a junior Simcha Halpert, a junior Donnie Katz, a sophomore Gabe Leifer. I think, just in perspective, if you thought about where we are right now versus where we thought they could be in the beginning of the season, we're right in the middle of the Skyline race. We may not be the 1 seed in the end, but there's a good, if
8-3, we're
8-3, yeah. I'm saying we're right in the middle of the top. That's what I'm saying, right in the thick of things, in the top. Yeah, we're right in the race. There's ups and downs for sure, but I think overall it's been a success. And look, there's definitely times where it's like, what do they? It doesn't look like they know exactly what they're doing, but they're freshmen, and they're learning, and we've seen some really good days from them, and some where they look a little bit lost, and that's going to happen. But yeah, the offense today, the first half, they were atrocious. They were really bad. They shot terribly. I think like 20%, something like that. They scored 54 points in the second half. Like it's there, and they're getting it together but if they put together a complete game, I think honestly, offense, it's definitely not where it could be, and I think it could be even better than what it is, no question. We do have some really great guards, no question. Zevi and Max it's hard to match up against them. But I think defensively, I think that's something that we're kind of looking, especially I was at the Merchant Marine game. That was the defenses. That was the issue of the game. They were getting close. Like Zevi kept hitting big shots. They were hitting big shots. Yeah. They just couldn't get the stops. So I think they need to put it all together. And Dolphins, Jack, to your point, I think Dolphins could definitely be better. There's no question about that. And I don't know.
We haven't talked about Oren at all. Like what do we think is happening with Oren in this lineup? Again, he actually played only 20 minutes tonight, in the sense that, that's not only 20 minutes, but in the sense that, they were short Gav, and you expect him to get, with a smaller lineup in there, for Sarah Lawrence, you expect him to get more minutes. He was, only the sixth in minutes off the starters, we tend to see him even usually outplay Dotan from a minutes perspective. So it was
I
interesting to
think
see.
with Oren, so that this is another one of my gripes about what we do is whereas Oren has the potential to be our third best offensive weapon, and he's proven it throughout the season. Yet, I mean, I don't know why. What is up with Oren? Like, again, I'm looking at it from a fan perspective, and most of the time when I'm watching, I'm also have my son that I got to chase around. So I'm going to use that as an excuse so I don't get killed by Harold next time we meet. But wouldn't an offense that like maximizes the number of, or wouldn't shouldn't there's got to be something is going on. Either he's become scouted, and now teams are just not leaving him. Maybe Effie Fröhlich came in and just kind of took his spot, and sometimes that happens, especially when you're playing on a team. Effie can shoot it and is about 6'3". I just would like to, I'd like to see more options. I'd like to see some. The motion, in my opinion, is an ideology where it's like you're screening away, you're passing, you're screening away, you're reading and reacting. But I just think, through it, the reason that's a great way to start. I think that's a great ideology to have as a basis for what you run. I think through that, you should have some plays that get Zevi an easy shot, that get Warren an easy shot. They had a play or two last year where they would call it where they'd have four guys aligned and then they'd run something and they'd always get a layup. And it's off the basis that the team is already panicking because they have to worry about the motion. But once they figure out the motion, now you're actually going to run something in addition. Like, all right, I get with you guys that this year is the year that they just got to learn the motion. Is that what the peak is? Like, we learn the motion and then that's our peak offense. We're not going to add anything to it. We're going to maximize that. We saw what that ends up, and that's a first round exit.
I think
professionals.
Yeah,
Can we add anything to this?
I think they have I don't think it's pure motion. I've seen some we were like teams are sagging off of Matan. I've seen them hand the ball off a pick, like a pick and roll with Matan. They've done that, which is something that we've saying in the beginning of the year that they have to do. And I think they've done that, and they've added. I've heard them call through. I don't know if they're plays or what exactly they're calling, but they've called things out. Something. When I heard something, they were calling a few plays, some number. I don't know what it was, but I think they've been tweaks over the course of the season. I think it's gone, and that today wasn't. I don't think today was like the X's and O's. I think it was more of an effort thing. And
I want to go back to that in a second, but one thing I saw just hanging on the Oren piece for a second, because I don't know if you saw this live, but now a couple times when I've seen live, and I think back to really even last year in the beginning of the year when or the big Oren games, because there are some teams that scout for sure, and I think the upper echelon teams not only that scout but have the personnel to stay with them. Tonight wasn't one of those games. What I actually saw, which I'm seeing a lot of, and tonight it actually happened because they were running a press, but not a press designed to steal the ball. Maybe they were a little more aggressive at the game, but they're really designed to get them into their offense at 16 seconds, right? So really take up half the clock. And where Oren typically gets the ball, and what's not happening this year as much, is that we're not getting the reversals that you used to get. Like Oren used to get it on the third round on the reversal where the guy would sag, and that's where he would find himself open. And there just aren't that many passes, whether it's tonight where we had less clock or whether other games. I'm just not seeing the reversals, because in this game, by the time we get to the second time around, I'm seeing Max drive. I'm seeing Zevi take it one-on-one. And so the reversals are not happening off the cut where he had that open shot. So a lot of times, even when we see him sticking those shots like tonight, it's because he's pump faking and taking a dribble to the side, which, by the way, I want to shout out how well he added to his game. That's the thing where I really like. Oren added to his game. He drives, right, a little bit. He's actually rebounding pretty well in terms of getting down there. He's actually been, you could see him working on his game, and you could see it getting better. I just don't think because the offense ends at a certain point, it doesn't have that flow, and that's where he's, at least in person, that's what it looks like. He's just suffering from the lack of flow. But effort, by the way, is huge. I go back to what I think is the best game of the year for them, or at least the most complete game of the year, which in person looked even better, was the Manhattanville game at Manhattanville. Where they really, really defended for 40 minutes. They really, really played in against tough guys, against what's the name, Tommy,
Latito,
the they have Latito, and again some big men, and I think they really dug in. and really were energized, and you saw that come out. If they're not energized on defense, especially what you saw in the USMA game where it was just layup after layup after layup, it just affects their offense. They're sluggish on offense too, and I don't know if it's conditioning. I don't know what it is, but they can play it. I mean, Roy played. When he sat the first half, he played 12 straight minutes without coming out in the second half. Like I do think they can do it. I don't know what's stopping it from happening, because we've seen a couple games. I thought Maritime, they played with energy. I thought they were matching their opponent. I mean, Maritime played with significant energy tonight. Sarah Lawrence didn't play with a whole lot of energy. They just had a very methodical.
They played hard. Yeah, they played hard.
Offense. They played hard, but like they're not individually challenging.
YU's played with better energy, and they could do it. And look, they're young, and it's hard to show up every night. You had a game a couple days ago. There's a lot going on.
This is the stretch, right? This is
the stretch. But this is the stretch. Yeah, this is where it's going to have to start. You're going to have to do it. You have a game, a Saturday night game.
I mean, Saturday night's not gonna, like, we had a little trouble out the gate with Westbury. Like, I'm gonna chalk it up and say it's probably gonna be a win Saturday night, right? Home against Westbury. Everybody, gearing up for this farm sale. It's gonna start the next day. Really excited, I'm sure. But Alumni night the next week.
We're talking about Alumni night. All right,
talking about this Saturday night. This Saturday night's checking in. Alumni night's gonna be off the charts. It's gonna be unreal. But I'm saying they're going into a stretch of three to four really tough games to close the season. And that's gonna be tough. And Alumni night against Mount St. Vincent is no joke, right? Like, they've been playing much better. There've been guys that in the first game weirdly just didn't even show up in the box score. They're good players, and I think we're gonna see that better team. They're now, I think, in the thick of it, right? They were tied going into that. I don't know what happened tonight, but 6-4, right? With St. Joe's Long Island.
They lost a close game to Maritime tonight.
Really
I think it's better to end the year with some tough teams than to start the year with some tough teams. So hopefully we can see what we're made of down the stretch.
Look, we could be yeah, sorry.
No,
9-3. It's 9-3 after Saturday night.
Yeah, and it's not like the Skyline. And it's not like everyone in the Skyline. There's no team. Every team has also been on, like, Farmingdale. They've had their struggles as well. St. Joe's Long Island, they lost to St. Joe's Brooklyn. They lost a few games whatever.
Look, the Skyline,
every team has the Skyline it's a really exciting race. And look, it's whoever's going to get hot come playoff time. And this
does that mean you're going to get more pissed off at the way the standings work and the seating? Does that mean because it's tight we have to, like? I still don't understand why this happened.
I understand
it, but it doesn't make any sense to me. I still can't get it.
It's hard to follow.
You guys are all making excellent points and proving me wrong and proving me as a fanatic.
We're saying be patient. We're not saying you're wrong. We're saying be a little patient. We were spoiled a little bit for the last couple of years.
To be devil's advocate to my own self, we are 8-3 in Skyline. Skyline's wide open, and we very much could end up winning the Skyline with a roster consisting of mostly freshmen and a lineup that consists of mostly freshmen, which is something that was unheard of 10 years ago with mostly seniors, and definitely unheard of mostly freshmen. It would be the only team to be able to do that. So,
and by the way, the women's team might make their first playoffs ever.
That's
the
true.
women's team might be first playoffs ever.
Shouts to, they're right in the race also.
It's all YU, Jack. It's all about YU. I don't know. Ever since you became staff, everything's gone crazy.
What happened?
Everything's up. Everything's up. The women's team's going to make the playoffs. We hope. They're
going to. Team had a good run.
I'm definitely going to go to the last game to see that.
As a fan of the game, I just want to see. I would just love, and maybe they're smart about not doing this because everyone got to get involved. But I would just love to see just sequences. Like, if the clock's at 16 and we bring it up, all right, let's run that Zebi set that we got. All right, this play's called Zebi. This play's called Max. We're at 16. We're not going to get two reversals. We're not going to tire them out. Let's see Zebi do his thing. Let's see Max. Let's spread it out, widen it out. Let's do 5 minutes at a time of 5 knockdown shooters with Effie playing center or Roy playing center, and just spread it out and see what Zach can create. See how Zebi can create. Let's drive and kick, dribble drive. Let's see what kind of movement we can make on the attack rather than, everything being so predictable. You guys are right. I'm acting fanatical. I said beforehand I was going to act fanatical.
All good.
I said I would be even more. I'm more disappointed in myself because I was trying to be even so fanatical that you guys would have to suspend me indefinitely. And I haven't reached that point.
I
And
did.
don't
We're gonna get one of those buttons like on ESPN shows where you do a mute, like you put in your.
I think I have the. I
You have the
mute-
penalty box. We put him in the penalty box for.
I could
for
do that.
10
I can mute him
seconds.
right now if you want. I have that control. I think I'm the admin of the.
No, I don't. I want to see it. I want to see, like, give me 5 minutes of, like, let's, like, switch it up. Give me 5 minutes of, like, Natkin, like, Landau, Zevi Max, and another energy guy. Like, give me, and Zucker, right? Like, give me, like, just 5 minutes of, like, I just think the lineups now are good, but if like, I like Jacob Roden, but I just feel like, and I like him, and I think he deserves to play. Don't get me wrong. I think he definitely deserves to play. He's a great player. And I like a lot of it, but I just think, like, isn't that more of, like, the same of what we're doing? Like, isn't that all right? That's a great substitution to have, but isn't he the same as Batash? And isn't he the same as, like, we're just doing the same thing?
I want to see when we
Just
sub.
5 minutes of, like, let's try something weird.
I want to
Throw
see when
it
we
out there.
sub for a purpose. Like I agree with you in the sense of I want to see when we sub because of what we're missing that night. I mean, we know who the lineup is, right? And so, and to your point, right? Everyone's going to come out the same way. So I'd like to see if we're lacking energy. I'd like to see, right, more napkin. I'd like to see guys who are going to bring the energy. I'd like to see if we're getting, for some reason, getting beat on the boards and the size. Like, put Igby in. Like, I just think we have serviceable players on the bench. I said this from the beginning. And I think we saw this more. There was really depth, right? More depth than probably any year in the sense of guys who you're not surprised at if they get in the game because they can,
Like,
they can. It's not, the plus minus isn't going to go off the charts because they're in, right? Whereas in previous years, you knew when at 5 minutes left and we're up 25 that we're going to close the game up 15. Like, you just knew that was going to happen because that's just the way it is. That wasn't the case.
Yeah, I just would like to see, like, in years past, like, Elliott had that kind of try to guard this lineup, right? So Ryan's freshman year, right? He would switch in the lineup of Jeff Owen, Ryan, Daniel Sion, Gabe, and Sim, and go try to guard that. 5 guys who could switch and space it out and, like, go nuts, go physical, go wild. Like, that was just a change of pace that he would throw in. And then the next year, obviously, he had the lineup of Donnie, Gabe, Sim, Ofek, or it was Donnie. It was Gabe, Ryan, Sim, Ofek, Aton, small ball, 5 ball, space it out, go defend this. And he would only do it, for moments, because he had Barr come in and Caleb come in and Donnie come in. But he would just switch up the pace and go deal with that. And then last year was the first time, and he started off with that, where he would get with Gabe, Ryan, Lasco, Ofek, Aton, and it was like, deal with this. And then you switched it off because Lasco got hurt. You couldn't really do that anymore. I just want to see him go to that. Let's go small. Let's space it out, especially this year when you get these dynamic guards to be like, all right, Effie for 6'3" and can play 5. Roy could play 4. Now let's throw in even if you put in Zucker in there, let's throw in, but let's forget about Zucker. I'm saying let's just 5 out. Let's throw in Oren, Max, Gabe, Max and Zevi. It's 5 minutes. Not for a long time. If we get crushed on the rebounds, then it resolves it. I just want to see it. And I agree. So Nathan, we're on the same.
Yeah, it's interesting in the sense. I just want to go back to the numbers for a second, just because I stole the printout at the end. I have AJ and Greg. They're good people. They let me borrow one. I said this in the first half, right? And I told at the folks of the game, we're like, hey, what's going on? We're sloppy. What's happening? And I said, listen, if Roy doesn't get himself into foul trouble again, we'll be all right. I mean, he played 2/3 of the minutes, right? Of Zevi, right, and much less than he usually does. He's plus 15 on the night, right? Zevi's plus 13, right, with 37 minutes. Like Roy, because of what he does on both sides of the ball, like, it just changed the first half to the second half. Now I still think, probably a little bit at the end, foul on the 3-point play, things like that. Like, other they shot. I mean, listen, they're not a great shooting team, and they shot 58% from 2-point land, 50% from 3 in the second half. Like, they shot just as well. Like, we could have played much better D in the second half than we did. But 53 points in the second half, we were pretty efficient. I mean, that was a pretty efficient offense in the second half. And a lot of that was from energy. A lot of that was from movement. A lot of that was finding open. There was a point, I thought it was great. You probably, if you play back, you'll probably hear me on the sideline saying, eat the clock. I think there was under 2 minutes left. And we were only up 5. And Zevi found himself wide open, but only 4 seconds in because his man fell down or got hurt. Number 12 got hurt. And he pulled up from
Yeah.
the NBA three and just nailed it, right? When he could have just held the ball for 20 more seconds to get under 130 with a 2-possession lead. So these guys are still shooting. They're shooting well, and the second half we saw that happen. I agree with you. There's some wrinkles when it's not working. Can we inject a couple of things into the play? But that second half. If we saw some of that in the first half, we would have been approaching 90 tonight, which again is not really what this offense does.
Yep. Very good. Very well said. Very well said.
So what do we got for the next couple games?
We have a lot going. We have a lot of
Sarah Lawrence, which is the go-to team I tell bench players to jump to if they want to see some minutes. So this is not a good sign.
I agree.
I don't want to be neck and neck with anyone but Farm.
It's always been.
We're good. It was not a great game, but they pulled it out. They ended up winning. They scored 54 points in the second half. Let's see how they show up Saturday night against Old Westbury. It's another team that they should be pretty well. They're at the bottom of the Skyline, and look, it's the stretch run. It's February, almost Adar, I think. We're getting there.
I was trying to do the calculations, and it's funny because I was like, "Wait, are we going to get? It's late this year. Are we going to get like
I don't know.
Amisha going? I think we hit it during playoffs. So I got to figure out like what we, if we get it
on Tuesday. Yeah, I don't know. Those are close. Yeah,
maybe we got Sunday.
We might need to make the tournament. We might need to make the tournament. That's what's going to have to be. Maybe we might have to make the tournament.
So I'm dressing as Max Zackheim for perm. I got a red wig, and
you could that could be a 3-in-1. You got Max, Roy, and Adi.
By the way, Roy looks fresh. I got to give a shout out to my boy Roy. I was in the CAF today, sitting with the students, just trying to network there and let them know what it means to be an alum. Roy walked in, his drip is on point. Roy is the Fresh Prince of YU. Let's just say that. This guy knows how to dress. He came in looking fresh. He had a glow.
I'm not surprised, by the way. Not surprised at all.
So what do we have looking forward? We have something else going on. Is that this Motzei Shabbos?
We got Ryan Terrell. Okay, so here's an announcement to all New York and all New York fandom. Los Angeles, hometown, you disappointed me. You didn't let them know what it means to be a fanatic. New York, I'm shouting at all of you.
It's going to be amazing.
We're going to put the fear of God into whoever handles the minutes over there at the Motor City Cruise. Because I'm going, I want to sound like this on Monday, like I do during Sarachek, for We Want Ryan Chance. If Ryan is not playing, any second he's not in, I'm losing my mind. And if you need a booze up before the game, holla at your boy. I'm bringing some goodies.
That's intended again for the older crowd.
Not for the younger.
But Shabbos, by the way, I'm looking forward to Shabbos. We're going to be hosted in the West Hempstead community. I think just incredible. They open the doors. Actually, anybody who needs a place, and if you're still looking, you want to get out there. Tickets. I bought. Just to give you a sense, like I'm going to be sitting like on top of the court for like $22 a ticket. So this is going to be the best thing. We got our signs being made. It's going to be amazing. I was out in DC, even when there was like 30, 40, 50, people there, and it was loud. This I really think I've talked to like at least 30, 40 people who I know are coming. Plus that that I know. I'm sure there are more. It's going to be fantastic. 7:00 start, which is again they accommodated that. I think at the drop of once they heard, they were like, oh yeah, no brainer, let's do it, right? So 7:00. Simi Cohen has been in articles, right, hanging out with Brad Terrell. It's like
Cohen, crushing
perfect.
I have a question, Natan. If I'm a fan, I want to sign up for the Shabbaton. Where do I go?
Reach out to us on Balabatz, we'll find you a place to stay you want to go, right? You make the arrangements, we'll find it, right? The community has been really, really open. We took advantage of it early, but I know a lot of people have been taking advantage of it late. I also know a lot of people are staying in and around, right? That's the beautiful thing about the Jewish community, right? People just calling, are you near? Are you where it is? We may not be made Jersey. You can't make it on time. Okay, all right, let's put it in. We did that last year with the tournament. It was the best Shabbos in Cherry Hill after the tournament. It would have been better had there been a win. But even without it made it perfect. So that's the best part of this is going to be celebrating Ryan, and talking about basketball. I think they may want us to even speak a little bit. Maybe they're, Mayor mentioned maybe a Shal Shidduch conversation. So
is Young Israel?
Yeah, Young Israel. People are excited. Like I just think it's really cool. People are really supporting Ryan. We've seen it everywhere, and I really hope I hope it's a precursor, honestly, to the per morning game, because that to me is like I want to see everybody out in numbers in costume. So like that's going to be the crazy blowout. But this Saturday night, man, celebrating with the Terrell family. Hopefully, we'll see everybody there. I don't know if your son's going to make a appearance as well. It's early enough, and it's not so far past the bedtime.
It
Are
is.
you going to be which of the many games going on that night are you going to be attending?
Me, I have to see. I have to see where I get to. My schedule is very unpredictable, so who knows? I'll definitely be. I'll be somewhere. We'll see. Hopefully. I don't know where I'll be, but
I got a call because it's my show dinner that night, and I got a call being like, "Yeah, I said I got plans. I'm sorry, I can't. Like, I love the show dinner. Love the Iris.
that game's at
Shout out.
6. That game's at 6:30. Is that
7 o'clock? 7 o'clock
7
start.
o'clock?
Max
Okay.
game is 8:30 start.
8. Okay, so you
Show
can
dinner,
watch
8 o'clock
both.
start. So
it's
we'll
not
figure
like
it
if
out.
you're
We'll see
going
what's
if
going
you're
on.
watching Ryan, you could still watch. You could probably head over to Washington Heights for
That's right,
midway
the
through the
Max
first half.
That's what
Yeah.
I
We almost
a
made
miracle.
alumni
Can we tell
February 4th.
Elliot to use his timeouts? Can you use his timeouts in the first half, and then we'll make sure to tell him he'll get a lot more crowd second half. We'll send that message. Sorry,
That's a
Jack.
good
We were
point.
saying.
That's funny. No, that's funny. That's good.
Wait, so we
Sorry,
got so
guys,
so
I'm
that
on
was
board
that's
with
this
that.
first. That's this Motzi Shabbos. What's the next Motzi
Oh,
Shabbos? The next Saturday
February
night.
11th, man.
So
The
that's
next Saturday night is alumni night.
okay. So
Come
Zach, tell us
enjoy.
about alumni night.
All right, we got swag giveaway. We have pizza. We have soda. We got YU beanies that are state of the art. We got bags. We're celebrating alumnus. We're having a halftime show contest between IL Hode and David Kufeld. Initially, Gabe Leifer and David Kufeld, but Leifer was afraid his free throw shooting was not up to par. The Bal Habatim will be doing a pregame show on site and will be featured in the halftime show for Max Live. Should be a great night all around, celebrating YU history. It's the last home game of the season. It could very well have be an important game for Skyline Conference playoff seedings. I insist on everyone coming and signing up, joining with us. Should be a great day. Great night.
Awesome. And the farm sale probably there. You got a lot going on.
Not only that, it's this farm sale launches that night, and I think it's alumni discount night as well. So
all the more reason. All the more reason.
I think it may be the opening Saturday night. I think it may hit up Sunday that it starts, but it's the first Saturday. It's definitely the biggest night. First Saturday night, you're gonna have people coming from far and wide. It's gonna be awesome. By the way, as an alumnus, I'm really excited. I'm bringing my kids just because I want to show them what the experience is. Honestly, it's pretty cool. Like to be able to do this. I really appreciate that you're doing this.
No, awesome. So we can't wait to see Natan Cohen and his family.
Family will be there.
Went to see all your families, and we'll see you at this farm sale. We love you.
It's gonna rock. I really think. And by the way, we didn't even talk about it. I know we touched about it earlier, but like the game, it's gonna be a pretty good game. Like this is a team that gives us a little trouble. Sometimes talented players. It should really be a great matchup with Mount St. Vincent. It may very well be if we get through the next 2 games as we expect. I think there's 2 more before the Mount St. Vincent game, or maybe 3 more. Right? We Mount St. Vincent. I think there's I forget what the schedule. If there's 2 more after Mount St. Vincent or 2 before. But if we win those 2, that's going to be a huge game because it may be what sets up a Farmingdale, showdown for the conference.
It might, yeah, for sure. We'll see if Farmingdale, I think, has to lose against St. Joe's Long Island for us to win still. But yeah, so it's a stretch. We got a lot going on. We're gonna have alumni night. We have Ryan Terrell night. We have a lot going on. Hopefully, if we get our stuff together, we will have live streams. On the road games. I think we have St. Joe's Long Island. We might have a game that's next Wednesday night. Hopefully, we'll organize, get some good guests. Maybe Farmingdale, we might even be able to do that. So, look, we'll try. I know we've been a little AWOL for the last.
Thanks for calling us out. We like
whoever called us out, and it's not because of the team. Trust me. If you look at we're watching the games. We're following. We have a lot going on. Baruch Hashem. We have we've all have a lot of our lives changed for a lot of us for good, and we've had a lot going on, and it's been hard to get together. But
I would like that to affect the 3,000 messages I've received on the chat over the past couple of days. Like that's probably like a 72-hour version. So it hasn't stopped the talk. We got to share it with you guys because it's been some fun.
No, we're back and forth. We're definitely just because the record is different than other years, that's not the reason. I could promise you that.
Yeah,
We are
C.
following.
We're
We're
talking about Pool
excited.
C.
We're loving it. We're loving what we see. It's amazing to see. This is just the first year, and to see what they're doing is really incredible and exciting. And this is the stretch run, and we're gonna hopefully. We're not hopefully we're gonna keep putting on the shows and get guests. I know Bob wants to be on. We'll have to get him on. He definitely has a rightful place on the show. There's no question about it.
Yeah, we gotta get the Horseman back. We gotta
We'll
talk
get it.
about
Yeah,
predictions.
we're gonna get there. We're gonna have to get there. We have a lot going on. Division 3 has been in general has been crazy.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's been I think it's been a fun ride, and we're gonna have a fun time, and Max are gonna have fun, and it's gonna be fun to watch.
That's awesome. Thank you, Ariel. Thank you for getting the band back together. Mayor, thank you for the ones and twos and being our backbone all time. Jack,
He might have to be suspended, but yeah.
He did a 180 in the same episode. So I think Simi pointed that out, that he went from talking about retiring the motion to putting Nakin in all in the same episode, and that's
I aspire to be Skip Bayless is who I aspire to be. My aspiration is for you guys to be able to pull clips of me arguing against myself. So, as long as I'm going towards that trajectory, I'm on the right path.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. I think we got that. Yeah, we could definitely.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think Skip Bayless is literally the best direction anybody can ever give somebody, because that would help a lot. I would like my TV to skip Bayless a lot, but it doesn't. But yeah, Jack, no, you're a special man. We're excited. We're excited for more Harold's Cats podcast episodes, where you debate, where we get on some analytics stat of the ball bots, and we get some special episodes going.
We're hoping
really,
to get
it's a pleasure.
podcast going. Hopefully, we can get the Pelican Brief launched. We just got to find the time.
Okay. Well,
Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, it was great to see you, and we'll do this more. We got a big game coming up Saturday night. Next week we have a big game. We have big games coming up, and we'll definitely we're gonna be more around as the stretch run comes.
Awesome. Good night, guys. Good night to everyone out there. We'll talk soon. We are 48 minutes away from February, so our best ball is right around the corner. Talk to you guys soon.